I just saw a new advertisement out for a movie on hacking people's brains. And I have strangers telling me online they want me to create more stories. And they want to stretch my mind. The arrogance, the evil, the greed of these people is unimaginable. When some person has a gift and sees what these people do before they do it, and she writes about it and puts it in stories without knowing these people are real, because she just sees these things that are happening that are so real in her mind. They have a life force of their own, and she puts it on paper. Then later she sees that these people really exist, and they're doing all these diabolical things that she writes about, that she submits to a writers' conference. The very first story I submitted had to do with the government poisoning people and creating hybrids and doing terrible things to these abducted people, and all of these things, Nazi-type crimes. I wasn't into science fiction or that. It was just something that entered my mind. The other stories, they had to do with reality too. I mean, I talked about ghosts getting in computers and ghosts being able to live through technology before white noise ever came out a few years before. I wrote about the devil using cyberworld to infiltrate people's minds and video games and things. And then later I discovered that Pan was the cyber network, which is the beast. I wrote about all these things when I was young. And then I wrote about someone attaching computers to people's brains and being able to capture a human's brain frequency. I wrote about that, let's see, 1996. That was before it ever happened to me. Now, these crazy doctors will say, oh, it's human conscience. It's all the brains in the world, and they're all working together. That's not true. That was a higher power. That was a higher power that they hate, that they know is going to get them. Because when you invade my soul and you hack my brain, you are creating the worst sin you can. And when you hack other people's brains, you are creating the worst sin you can. You are infuriating Almighty God, and He's going to judge you in His higher kingdom. And you won't be happy. You won't go unpunished. This is just an atrocity, what you've done against humankind. You made my life a nightmare. I had a soul, and I know it was very precious and valuable because it was the greatest thing God gave me to make me feel human. And when you violated my soul, I don't even feel human anymore, but you love it. You love it, and you're destroying everyone. You cracked my brain. You don't know the horror and pain and agony that you put me through. You really, really don't. And someday you will. I think you might on the other side, and your crimes are going to escalate, and they're going to come back to get you. You're selfish and you're evil, and your greed is out of control. They've got new movies coming out now, but guess what? I wrote those stories a long time ago about the brain hacking. I wrote about that Hunt Club, the Hunt Club, ages ago. I went to the police about the Hunt Club. I went to the FBI about the Hunt Club. I wrote stories about it. Copyright protected it. I wrote about this cult, and I even made some of the characters from Canada, and I put 2 horror writers in there that were influencing people to murder and things. And these horror writers were sadistic. That came out in the followers, and now they have the nerve to crush my brain to where I'm near insane. And they keep me sleep deprived, and they probe my brain to try to keep me frightened all the time as a punishment for revealing to the world all these things that are happening. And they're telling me to give them more stories. I can show you stories. I can show you how my stories were original and fresh, and how they're still using them. But they're draining my life force and threatening me and saying I'm going to be a sacrifice and that I'm Anne Frank. Because I put the information out, I put the truth out. And I mean, there's just no outlet. There's no escape. When people get to be this evil, there's no hope in the world. There is no sunshine. There's just no place you can go but in your heart and turn to Jesus, because the world's shot. When these diabolical people run the world, it's in ruin. The only hope is heaven. The only hope is through God, and I don't think any of these people are going to turn to God.